Okay, today on the Casady Stamps podcast, YouTube is adding video chapters. YouTube Creator Studio Classic General Access is finally fully discontinued. Free ambisonic sound library from Røde. Major security vulnerability in iOS. ARM-based MacBook Pro in the works. And more. Anyways, starting off with YouTube adding video chapters. They rolled out on some channels videos and some channels watch pages. And when I say on some channels watch pages, that means only certain channels can see the video chapters. My main account can't, my second account can't. To use them, you need to have timestamps in your description, with number 1 being 0 o'clock. In order to not use them, you need to have the first timestamp be something other than 0 o'clock, say 001, or, well, you could also just skip the first section. Having a timestamp at 000, you can literally just move the cursor back to the beginning. Or don't put the timestamps into the description if you still want to use timestamps. I believe you could use them in the comments, however, don't take my word for it. And also, yes, you may have noticed if you're a mobile user that timestamps now work on mobile. Some sad news. YouTube Creator Studio Classic General Access is finally fully discontinued. Yeah, I was one of the last to have it. That doesn't mean that there aren't features that have specific access to Classic. YouTube Stream Now still has access to Classic because YouTube Stream Now is not yet part of the live control room, though apparently it's coming. Apparently it's coming to the LCR. A free ambisonic sound library has been released by Røde. Now, what ambisonic means, it is a three-dimensional 360-degree sound. Three-dimensional. You know how conventional surround sound is two-dimensional? Stereo is one-dimensional, really. Mono is zero-dimensional, like how I just have one microphone here. It has 0 dimensions. That is not going to change because panning voices is a no-no. Now, it was extremely high-end until very recently with Røde's ambisonic stuff. Up next, Apple has confirmed a major security vulnerability. For running iOS 6 or newer, you are vulnerable to remote attacks. The iOS Mail app allows attackers to commandeer your inbox. Yes, the iOS Mail app. iOS 13 even allows it to happen unassisted. In previous versions, you had to open a malicious email, whereas iOS 13 can just have the Mail app opened remotely and is much worse. Now, Apple has patched this in iOS Beta 13.4.5. Until that is released, just disable iOS Mail and use third-party apps like Gmail or Microsoft Outlook, which are confirmed not to have that vulnerability on iOS. Up next, an ARM-based MacBook Pro is in the works. Yes, an ARM-based MacBook Pro. Now, I will say that I am not really that big of a fan of the ARM. It is no longer just a concept. At least one ARM-based Mac is planned for next year, 2021, and more are likely to pop up, which means that Intel's influence on Apple products will be greatly reduced. Because, Intel, their processors do not follow an annual release schedule. I would be surprised if they followed a schedule at all. And they also can be an external point of failure, i.e., if Intel discontinues essential products to the Mac line. Now, there are disadvantages to it. Apps need to be completely rewritten. 160,000, I'm assuming that's an approximate number, Nintendo accounts have been hacked. Nintendo network IDs were acquired by hackers. Now, what a network ID is a unique username and password, which has been deprecated since the Switch. and I believe is now actually disabled. You can't use it to log in anymore because of this. What happened was users noticed missing funds and or V-Buck purchases. V-Bucks are Fortnite's virtual currency. It also shared personal information, which risks doxing. There were a lot of people at California beaches in the heat wave. Taylor Guitars is making guitars out of urban wood. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Guitars out of urban wood. The thing is, global restrictions on the exotic wood generally used to make guitars are tightening, and they also want to be more sustainable. Now, generally, when these non-traditional things happen, it's a one-off thing, but no, this is actually a long-term solution. What they are doing is they are taking wood from the Mexican Sam ash trees planted just after World War II era, which are approaching the end of their life because they're old. However, guitar players do tend to be stubborn and not accepting of change. Bob Taylor isn't worried. Taylor Guitars is a respectable guitar company.
Advice from Kiss Hades Stamps.
And now it is time for Advice from Kiss Hades Stamps. Stay on top of things. Yes, working and or learning from home does not give you an excuse to procrastinate. You know how 2 weeks ago I said upgrade cameras last? Well, Logitech's drivers are from 2012. I will say, shame on them for not updating them. They are not fully compatible with anything new, specifically Windows 10. If you frequently experience blue screens of death or BSODs from them, upgrading it may be good for state of being. Of course, switching webcams to a different manufacturer may also be an idea. Whether or not it's a good idea, we'll see. If you have a camera and a capture card, which I don't, use it. However, if it's an action cam, especially a GoPro that is not a black model, don't use it. If you're running out of USB ports, if you can at all use a USB hub with it with certain products, use that. Good PCIe USB cards are extortionately priced. Now, if you don't have a webcam, under no circumstances should you use Facecam, or even if business conferencing, have a camera at this time. Currently, they're way too expensive, and webcams suck. They do. Trust me. As a webcam user, I say webcams suck. Now, another thing. Do not motherboard your microphone audio ever. And of course, what that means is microphone jack. Not talking about USB. Use USB for USB microphones and USB or Thunderbolt audio interfaces for analog mics. Now, the reason why I didn't say FireWire is because, well, to be honest, no one even uses that anymore. I'm assuming no one here has FireWire. USB mixers are fine, but if you're not willing to shell out the money for a multi-track mixer, you are going to be stuck with just a single stereo track. Now, I actually use an audio interface. It is a Behringer Euphoria UMC 204 HD. It's the 204 HD, not the 202, not the 404, the 204. This one is way too often needing to be said. If a sale is happening, only buy things you are planning to buy anyway. Some people just go, "Oh look, a sale. Wasn't planning to buy it, but gotta save money." No, you're not saving money. You're just simply wasting less money. You're wasting less money because you weren't planning to buy it. If you had bought it for full price, you would have spent more on it, but you're spending more than you would have if you hadn't have bought it. This is YouTuber's personal. That's YouTuber's personal, everyone. YouTube view velocity makes us better off having a schedule, sort of. Well, you should at least have a video release time. Not necessarily live stream time, but a video release time, yes. However, do not forget the importance of production quality. On YouTube, quality versus quantity do have a specific ratio that no one actually knows what it actually is, but through science we can come close. It has a P-score, preference score, which depends on popularity, passion, protection, platform, and production. Popularity includes your watch time, view velocity, somewhere in there views and subscriber count are factored in, probably, maybe. Passion, that refers to audience engagement. Now, that does not mean that inactive watchers hurt you. No, they still help, but active watchers just simply help more. Protection refers to advertiser friendliness. Basically, it's whether or not your content is suitable for advertisers. Now, platform, that refers to how well the videos work on different devices. And then finally, there's production quality, which relates to click-through and retention rate. Click-through rate has to do with whether you leave the YouTube site entirely after a certain video, or if you go to a video after that. Retention rate refers to how long your viewers watch. Now remember, P-score is proprietary, and apparently not the most useful information as well. That being said, not having a release time can be bad. Personal segment. This is it. Okay, now it's time for the personal segment. I have a new microphone on order. It is the Audio-Technica BP40. It's time to get a broadcast dynamic. It's on sale and I really like it. I was actually considering the Electro Voice RE27, but that's ridiculously bright. The RE320 would be better than the RE27ND, and the RE20 for my voice, most likely. I'm pretty sure I will like the sound of it, but I'm hoping I will. Also, another thing, I built a sound booth in my bedroom closet. You may have seen this already, but yeah, there is clothing on the right wall. I did put a blanket on the rear wall because I won't need it at this time of year. And on the left side, I put pillows, stuffed animals, and clothing. They are floating, it's only half of the closet being used. However, my brother uses it to record a Magic the Gathering podcast. He does have one of those sensitive condenser microphones. It's a Samson Meteor, so a treated room definitely is important. I also use it to record my untreated room microphone tests. However, I am planning on recording something real one day. Now, my Electro Voice US690 review finally released on Friday, which, as I'm recording this, is actually tomorrow. It took several days to record because, well, I did leave some processing on once and other things. And then it took me even longer to actually get it edited, but it is finally out. I also reviewed the first ENG microphone that I've done last Monday. It went well, other than I had to redo the first few tests. Fortunately, I caught myself before completing it. Well, it's an Audio-Technica AT8004. Apparently it's discontinued. Apparently. Now, another thing. My webcams did cause 2 more blue screens of death. 2 of them. So I'm trying to find a capture card from my camera, which is a Canon Vixia HF-R800. We have turned on the air conditioning for the first time, and of course the air conditioning is much quieter than the furnace. Oh boy, the furnace is loud. Those gas burners, they are seriously loud. Now my setup, other than right on my table, is now clean. I decluttered my area and also vacuumed there, and it is so much easier to use. I also have a new boom arm coming, Samson MBA38. I've heard that some have a wobbly pin that holds the microphone in place, but I've also heard that is not supposed to happen. However, that does not really matter because I will be using it mainly with end address microphones, and I will also be careful with my microphones. I'm not going to just hit the microphone like that. Now, that brings us to what I've been testing. I have been testing this guy, the Behringer Ultra Voice XM8500, which is a $23 cardioid dynamic microphone, and it's surprisingly good for the price. However, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for. I really do hope you've enjoyed. If you did, then please do hit the like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But anyways, this has been Sadie Stamps. Cheers for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!